The hell does acquiescence mean? I think it means, like, giving up and not putting up a fuss about something. Like, kind of accepting it in a way. Hold on. Google, answer me. Acquiesce. But how do you even spell it? Okay, acquiescence. The acceptance of something without protest. Cool. Okay. I can use big words without knowing what they mean. Sorry, I'm late. I don't like chairs. So, as someone who tries to put stuff out onto the internet, creates content for YouTube and music and stuff like that, you've kind of got to acquiesce to the fact that you're going to get like 1,000 misses before you get even one hit. And I guess that acquiescence is... it just sounds pretentious when I say it. I can't do this. I've been putting music out into the internet for 4 years now. And in that time, I've gathered audiences in a bunch of different fields, like musical comedy, kind of sad lo-fi recordings of songs, and also a little bit of like electro swing type stuff all over the place. And my audience's expectations of me are wide-ranging. And so when you're trying to create an album that kind of fulfills audience expectations, when you've got such a myriad of different things in your catalogue already, it can be quite difficult to know what to put together. And so for this album, which is full of songs I wrote, and aptly titled songs I wrote, because I'm just so good at coming up with titles for things, I went through and I sat down at my piano and I was scrolling through my notes, looking at old songs that I've written and playing them through. Some of them I haven't played in years. There was so many that I rejected. Originally, I had this idea where I wanted the album to be full of only ballads and just gentle songs all the way through. But then I decided to add Burning and Rockstar, which are two songs that are very up-tempo, very larger than life, definitely in the banger category rather than ballads. Yeah, I think that was the right call, because my audience is used to me abusing keyboards. So yeah, I thought it would be in keeping with my audience's expectations to have those bangers in there. It has the very first song I ever wrote, Introverted at a Party, at the start of it. It's got my most recent song, Goodnight Darling, which I wrote only a few weeks ago. And everything in between, from comedy songs to really unfunny, sad songs. The theme of the album, I guess, is, well, a lot of them are love songs, which is something that's been on my mind recently, and a lot of them were written for someone in particular. And it's been a bit of a personal journey, but I'm glad that it's one I've been on. And I hope you enjoy the album if you decide to listen to it, because it's I'm quite pleased with the takes, despite the fact that a lot of the songs were recorded in just a handful of, like, 1 or 2 recordings each. I didn't want to agonize over getting exactly perfect, pitch-perfect renditions of each song. I wanted something that was a bit more raw and spontaneous and gave the impression that it was a live studio recording, which it essentially was. For a lot of the songs, I only did 1 take, and that was enough. So that was a deliberate choice rather than me being lazy for once. YouTube is becoming a harder platform to be a creator on, it's true. It's like diminishing returns these days in terms of long-form content. It's harder to succeed with. Although I don't think there's any reason to despair, because you've just kind of got to adapt the way you create content to fit the new algorithm, or the way that the algorithm has changed over the years. And so the way I kind of did that with this album and promoting it was I did a series of videos in December and at the start of the year where I just did little comedy recordings of most of my songs, most of the songs I still play, called Playing My whacked out songs until I gain an audience or seek therapy. And that actually took off quite nicely. I did it on YouTube and TikTok, and I built a bit of a bit of a bigger following that I already had by doing that. And I wanted to consider the fact that most of my audience, who are, you know, young people in their late teens to early 20s, are on TikTok, and TikTok's not something I've really used before. So to be a bit more up to date with the standards of today, I did promote the album quite a bit on TikTok. And here's the original artwork that I did for the album. As you can see, it has a drawing with two silhouetted figures under an umbrella, which is under a street lamp in the rain. And I used to be an art student. If you've heard art students camera roll, you'll know that. As you can tell, I am not an art student anymore. It has songs I wrote written on it, which I actually edited in post and wrote digitally, because I found that was too small when you viewed it on Spotify. And surrounding it are lyrics from songs on the album. Yeah, I thought that was quite neat. Written in cursive, which is the only way I can write things by hand, and yeah, I think it's okay. Woo! I wanted a sound for the album that was the closest thing to professional quality, you know, recording that I'm capable of. So I mic'd up the grand piano at college, which is a beautiful Yamaha Grand. I used 2 condenser microphones for that, and added a bunch of compression presets, and messed around with that. I'm far from a producer, but I kind of added things in Logic Pro until I was happy with the result. Compression and EQ, and the 2 condenser mics, one was for the lower range keys and one was for the higher range keys, so they need different EQs and different levels in the mix. And then for my vocals, it was just a dynamic mic, which is something I'm very used to recording through. And yeah, I think the result is a level of recording quality that wouldn't sound out of place on a professional release. I'm really pleased with it. It's quite high fidelity compared to my earlier lo-fi stuff. And I don't know, I guess it speaks a bit to how far I think I've come as an artist, that the songs no longer are recorded in voice memos on my phone or just through a headphone microphone. Yeah, I'm really pleased with it. I guess if I could go back and do things differently, something I'd want to do is, with the filmed recordings of the songs, I released them all on one night, which perhaps wasn't the smartest move. I think I could have gained a bit more traction if I had, you know, promoted each video individually and then released them at set dates. I think that could have gathered a bit more attention, which would have subsequently meant the album might have performed slightly better. Not that it hasn't done well. I don't know. If I'm picking apart my process to find things I could have improved, then that's definitely on the list. If you're someone who's watching at home thinking that you want to be a content creator, or you want to put the art that you create out onto the internet in the hopes that people will like it and you'll garner a following through it, then my advice as someone who has done that for a long time is just do it. Don't stop. Keep on writing, keep on painting, keep on doing whatever it is you do, and pay attention to what people respond to, you know. I spent a long time trying to copy the artists I like, and you can have influences, but at the end of the day, what you have to offer to your audience that they haven't seen before is you. And trying to figure out where you reside in the mix, what you bring to the table, is difficult. I'm still working on it, but I promise you have something that is worth showing the world. Yeah, that's some free advice. Can you believe me and the rubbish that comes out of my mouth?